Yesterday, we have discussed the first two vows of the 10 great vows of the Universal Goodness Bodhisattva Mahasattva. The first two are, number 1, respect all Buddhas. Number 2, praise the Tathagata. And number 3, which we're going to discuss this morning, is cultivate universal offerings. The characteristics of universal goodness Bodhisattva's practice is its content is infinite and its attitude is infinite. So in this universal offering, number 3 item of universal goodness Bodhisattva's practice is also infinite. Infinite in offering all beings, including non-beings. For the beings which have feeling, called the sentient beings, that means all the regular beings who are not yet enlightened, and all the beings who are already enlightened, and even non-beings are all covered in this universal offering practice. Because to offer to one is actually to offer to all. That is because the realization or enlightenment is so complete and the mind is so huge and vast. It covers all the space in the whole universe. Therefore, the application of this complete emptiness nature becomes vast and has no limitation. There are some Bodhisattvas who too has had enlightenment and sees the empty nature, but that was not complete. Therefore, in the application of the emptiness mind is not so vast and so inconceivable as universal goodness Bodhisattva has demonstrated. Because fundamentally, the reason for this vast offering without limitation is because one is all. All is in one, and there is no difference between. And that is the highest spiritual level described in the Flower Adorned Sutra. In the universal offering practice, number 3 great vow of the universal goodness Bodhisattva, and the highest offering among the Dhamma offering is among all the offering, universal offerings, the best one, the highest one is Dhamma offering, because the Dhamma offering can help sentient beings cut off confusion, delusive thinking completely, and obtain original perfect wisdom. Other offerings has their own merits, but cannot be compared with the Dhamma offering. Among Dhamma offerings, the best of the Dhamma offering in practice is to follow the instruction and do practice carefully according to the instruction. That is the best among the Dhamma offering. That's why we have discussed a few nights ago that one must obey the instruction from one's teacher and put into practice without deviation. Then one can eventually obtain the thorough and complete realization of one's own nature. In the Sui Tang dynasty, about 500 or 600, 700 AD period of time in the Chinese history, all those great monks and masters in Japan, in Korea, and in China, they all agree that in 49 years of teaching by Buddha Sakyamuni, the highest level of sutra is Flower Adorned Sutra, because that one is the most thorough and most complete and perfect. and is describing the spiritual state and level of Buddhas. But there are also other masters nowadays realize that comparing with the Flower Adorned Sutra, the Infinite Life Sutra is even higher. It is the essence of the greatest thing. Generally speaking, in the Mahayana Buddhism, the Flower Adorned Sutra and the Wonderful Lotus Flower Sutra are the sutra belong to the great Buddha's level and not to average people. And definitely it's at the highest level of teaching. But these greatest sutras are actually providing introduction or leading to the practitioner to be involved with even higher sutra, that is the Infinite Life Sutra. Therefore, the Infinite Life Sutra is the number one among number ones. When I read this one, read the statement, I feel very happy. As a matter of fact, the reason in my Pure Land School teaching and practice to be able to realize this fact was due to 17 years of teaching of the Flower Adorned Sutra. Even today, I'm still teaching without stop. And in reading and teaching this Flower Adorned Sutra, at the last of the sutra, it described that universal goodness, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, utilizing the 10 great vows, provide to the sentient beings as guidance in order to have sentient beings to be born into Buddha Amitabha's Pure Land of the ultimate bliss. So, the Infinite Sutra, which directly describes Pure Land of Amitabha Buddha, is the final resting place for our spiritual life. In the 1900s, a famous and old layperson, a Chinese layperson, his name is Xia Linju. He compiled all the translations in the history of Chinese Mahayana for Infinite Life Sutra and compiled them to make one complete, you may say, new version of Infinite Life Sutra. This is actually a great blessing of sentient beings and human beings in the modern time, because this person is not average people. It's high-level Bodhisattva come back to the suffering world to save sentient beings by making such a great contribution. And not average people can have the capability to compile all the translations of Infinite Life Sutra and make such a great, complete version. Out of gratitude, I reproduced his picture and enlarged. It's hung over there. As you can see, that's his picture. It's been printed many times. The original picture shows very clearly. If you look carefully, behind his head, there's a picture of Buddha. The light was behind it. If you look also carefully around his feet area, there's a bright light coming out, something like a lotus flower. But due to numerous times of reprinting, it becomes not that clear. But if you pay close attention, you can still see that. That translation, the new version of Infinite Life Sutra, provides the best material for people who can concentrate and reach achievement in just one lifetime. That is a blessing for those who have the opportunity to determine what to practice and be successful in one lifetime. Therefore, we are grateful to this great master's compilation work. In the Tang Dynasty, also according to the Mahayana tradition and record, a great Pure Land School teacher called Sandao, Master Sandao. It is believed that he is a manifestation of Amitabha in the physical form and came to the human world. He said, the Infinite Life Sutra is the sutra that all Buddhas in all universe try to circulate and help people, and that will make Buddha real happy, to bring people directly into the level of Buddha themselves. If we do not have time to study the whole sutra of infinite life sutra, then what is the essence of the sutra that we must not ignore? It is chapter number 6, which is the essence of the essence. That is basically describe Amitabha Buddha's 48 vows in chapter 6. And this whole sutra was originally taught by Buddha Sakyamuni. And if you read carefully and cross-reference between the plan from the beginning to the end, you're going to find the whole sutra, every single word, every single statement, are not deviate from the spirit of the 48 vows as described in chapter number 6. That also tells us Buddha Dharma are provided according to the truth, not by individual. No matter who is to provide the teaching, must follow the truth. So from this point, we can see Buddha Sakyamuni did a good job, excellent job. The whole sutra itself are totally in agreement with chapter number 6, which was Amitabha's 48 vows. And if you want to further find out what is the essence of the essence of the essence of the 48 vows, it is vow number 18, which says, in chanting Buddha name or thinking of Buddha Amitabha for just 10 times, or even one time, one can be born into Pure Land without suffering anymore. This is the inconceivable part, or most mystical part, or maybe even confusing part of the Pure Land school when compared with other schools. This is inconceivable. In my early time studying Buddha Dharma, I have some doubts in my mind. If a person going to be born, fall into hell at the last few seconds of his life or her life, can Buddha, or will Buddha, have the capability and great compassion to save the beings, not only for avoid falling into the hell, instead become enlightened into Buddha land? When I read the 48 great vows, particularly the vow number 18, I suddenly realize that Buddha's compassion and supernatural power and capability is infinite. And it is truly that we can praise Buddha has infinite merits and infinite capability and wisdom. However, would such a person be saved? It is up to his faith. It is up to his receiving of Buddha's blessing. If he has great faith, instead of falling to hell, he can be received and into the Buddha land, enjoy the same thing as Buddha enjoyed. As we have mentioned last night, the example, the Chinese monk who chanted only Namo Amitabha for 3 years and finally passed away by standing with chanting beads in his hand, not even lying down, and was able to be born into Pure Land at a very high position, in a very high position. This is a concrete evidence of one single practice. In the simple chanting of Namo Amitabha, one can get out of the samsara forever. And this successful example also shows it is due to that person's great karmic connection and root in deep belief of this inconceivable method and the power of Amitabha. Amitabha is the name, holy name of Buddha Amitabha. However, it contains infinite and numerous meaning. The interpretation and explanation of Amitabha is described in the Infinite Life Sutra. So the Infinite Life Sutra is the interpretation of the holy name. And then the Flower Adorned Sutra, with tremendous volume and content, it served as, in turn, interpretation of the Infinite Life Sutra. And then, in turn, the whole Buddha Dhamma provides interpretation for the Flower Adorned Sutra. So you know their relationship. One is essence and essence of the other, and the other is the complete detail of the essence. This Amitabha Buddha, the holy name, it covers the whole universe and all times, the past, present, and future. In Qing Dynasty, a great master called Ci Yun Dashi, in his book about in his book about direct pointing and of the observing the Infinite Life Sutra, he said, when one has very serious sin, that sutra chanting, mantra practice, and repentance ceremony cannot remove that heavy sin. The single holy name of Amitabha can do the job. However, human beings do not realize the power of such simple holy name. Therefore, at the time of illness, one tends to chant Medicine Buddha. At the time of disaster, one chants Guanyin Bodhisattva or Avalokitesvara. They did not know the holy name of Amitabha. Its power suppresses all sutra, all mantras, and all repentance ceremonies. Now, why Buddha does not describe directly to point out the best to us, and instead giving us so many other methods? It is because we do not believe. Therefore, without choice, Buddha has to provide other things, may not be the best, but still very good, that we will receive and accept. In the Chinese Antique Museum in Taiwan, collect all kinds of antiques of the nation. Do you know what is the best antique, the most valuable one? It is a rotten-looking copper product of a Song dynasty, which is before, I think, in the BC time period. But people just enjoy those transparent, beautiful jade products made in the Qing or Ming dynasty. That's because people do not realize the true value. They would think the ancient copper product is just a piece of a rotten metal. They did not realize the value. Likewise, people do not realize the supreme value of the holy name of Amitabha. Therefore, just have to wait until the proper time comes, people wake up, the proper belief comes, then the best thing can be realized. And now the time has come to cultivate solely and promote solely Amitabha name. For that, I have distribute and circulate several million volumes of the Infinite Life Sutra around the world. And there are many Buddhist friends enjoy such book and do the reading on a daily basis. That makes me so happy, and I forgot all the traveling hardships, because I enjoy doing this when people truly realize the value of this teaching and its practice. So, in discuss the third great vow of universal goodness Bodhisattvas, namely universal offering. How to achieve the universal offering to a complete and perfect state? Simply practicing and promoting this Amitabha. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas has infinite methods and skillful means to help sentient beings, and ultimately still direct sentient beings return to the Pure Land and meet Amitabha Buddha. Let's take this following case and analyze. The founder of the Vajrayana Buddhism is Nongsu Pusa. When he opened up the Iron Tower, he met Vajrasattva, who is the manifestation of Vajrapani. And Vajrapani is the manifestation of universal goodness Bodhisattva Mahasattva. And this one has described earlier, want to teach sentient beings utilizing the 10 great vows to be born into the Pure Land. So eventually, they disclosed the ultimate intention to introduce sentient beings, expose sentient beings, and mature sentient beings to eventually return to the Amitabha's place. Another great famous Bodhisattva called Dunti, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, who is actually manifestation of Guan Yin or Avalokiteshvara, and Guan Yin is the assistant to Amitabha in the Pure Land. So, for sentient beings, average people, we have discrimination mind of esoteric teaching versus apparent teaching, Vajrayana Buddhism versus other type of Buddhism. But in the eye of Buddha and Bodhisattvas, there are no such discrimination or differences. It's like traveling a different path, but eventually return to the same place, and eventually return to home, and you find Amitabha is waiting for you at home. So the methods can be different, but ultimate goal is always the same. The fourth vow of the universal goodness Bodhisattva is through repentance to remove karmic obstacles. In every single thought generated from our mind, we are creating karma. And karmic obstacles will block our original Buddha nature. And therefore, the original wisdom, virtues, and supreme powers of the Buddha nature cannot reveal themselves. The karmical obstacles are basically two types. The obstacle of vexation, the obstacle of knowledge. Let's examine ourselves. Are we constantly in a state without vexation or without preoccupied concept or knowledge? Are we free from those? Buddha Sakyamuni pointed out directly as a doctor diagnosing the problem or the illness of the sentient beings. That is that all sentient beings are originally enlightened as Buddha. Due to wandering thoughts and attachment, the original Buddha nature of Buddhahood cannot be obtained. The wandering thought, which is the root of obstacle of knowledge. One thought one knows something, that becomes a preoccupied perception. That is basically wandering thoughts. And attachment basically is the root of vexation. In the practice of Dharma, one needs to break through these two obstacles and see one's own Buddha nature. And therefore, repentance becomes the key, the river point of practice to remove effectively the karmical obstacles. If karmical obstacles still not removed, then spiritual achievement cannot be attained. Therefore, all teachings and all practices and all methods are basically dealing with how to remove karmical obstacles. If a person have created such a heavy sin, is bound to be fall into the hell at the last few seconds or moment. If she can quickly repent what she has done wrong and generate great vows to be born into Buddha land and chanting Buddha name. Just by chanting the simple Namo Amitabha, the heavy sins quickly dispersed. And that's why the Qing Dynasty Great Master Ci Yun said that the Buddha name is so supreme that it can remove the heaviest sin that other method may not be able to remove. A couple of years ago, there's a Vajrayana practitioner, very, very famous in the Chinese Buddhist community. He said, if one carries karmic obstacles, one cannot be born into the Pure Land. Only through removing the karma, then one can be born into the Pure Land. That caused panic among the Buddhists in Taiwan as well as in the United States. So several years ago, when I traveled to California, a famous layperson, Zhou Xuande, he asked me at the airport, if that's the case, we cannot totally remove our karmic obstacles accumulated since time without beginning, then chanting Buddha name will not bring us into the Pure Land. What is all about? What is the real truth? I answered him, if that's the case, we cannot remove all the karmic obstacles, we cannot be born into Pure Land, then might as well don't go. Because if that's the truth, then in the Pure Land, only Amitabha will be capable to stay there. Because even the second highest beings in the Pure Land, the Guanyin Bodhisattva, still have one last subtle piece of ignorance, not totally removed. That's why it's called Bodhisattva, Mahasattva. And that you read, I asked him, the sutras teaching about there are 4 spiritual levels and 9 different levels of beings to be born into the Pure Land, into different categories or levels. Do you recognize that? He said, yes, it was well described in the sutra. I said, that is the evidence. If we do have karmical obstacles of different level, then when we're born into the Pure Land, will be different spiritual level and spiritual achievement corresponding to the level of our karmical obstacles. If you have more karmical obstacles, then you will be born into a relatively lower level in the Pure Land. If you have less karmical obstacles, then you'll be born into a higher level. And when you completely remove the karmical obstacle, then you become Buddha, and no different than Amitabha. Land's practice. When we chant Amitabha name, our heart need to be with Amitabha. And we need to make vows sincerely as Amitabha has made. And our actions and activities need to be in proper correspondence with what Amitabha Buddha does. And this is actually Vajrayana Buddhism's teaching. The three proper responses in the mind, in the heart, in the actions. Therefore, we need to follow and actively and sincerely put into practice of what described in the Infinite Life Sutra. With that kind of attitude, then chanting Amitabha, you will be truly corresponding to the heart of Amitabha. It is not chanting Amitabha while and yet the mind is still scattering around. We must make the 48 great vows as our individual or personal vows. Truly thinking this way, then chanting Amitabha will be truly remove all kinds of sins and karmic obstacles. The number 5 great vow of the Universal Goodness Bodhisattva Mahasattva is to join others' virtues and merits. This practice is to deal with the inherent jealousy that was with us since time without beginning. Take a look at the children. When one child takes more candies than other children, then other children will become jealous about this child who took too much. So this is a concrete evidence showing that jealousy is part of our nature and it is inherent. So this virtue is to teach us to see other people's good part and enjoy other people's good deeds, virtues. And not only to tolerate, but to encourage and to help others to accomplish their good deeds. If we do not have the capability, money, or strength to help others achieve their good deeds and virtues, we need to join them with our heart. Only through this we can eventually accomplish our own spiritual achievement. We must first be patient with other people's progress and not jealous. And then we need to even further to help others and wish others to become spiritually achieved better than us. The karmic consequence of jealous and not willing to spread teaching to others, or you spread teaching but not 100%, maybe 90%, then the karmic consequence is to become very stupid in next life. And if one do not want to share material things with other people due to stinginess, then the karmic consequence is to be born in next life in a very poor family. The Chinese costume has its teaching and meaning behind it. Very interesting. The high-rank officers, the ancient costume, the head is flat in the front, and then and the second part in the back of the head, above the head, is higher than the front part, which means he wish the generation of the future time is doing better than the current time. Better in virtue, better in capability, better in material life, and better than us. Others to be better than me, future generation to be better than the current generation. With that intention in mind, the ancient Chinese heads were created. As far as the emperor's head, it is flat on top, which is symbolizing that emperor supposed to approach to all the subordinates and the people with a mind of equanimity, no discrimination. So from this costume, we see the meaning of the teaching appear in the costume. In the area of spreading Buddha Dharma and teaching students and sharing with friends, we need to have this kind of realization and try to help others and wish others sincerely to be better than us in spiritual achievement. Because as we can see, the world is declining. It will be very difficult to teach future generations. So when we teach or help our friends and students, we should be truly wish their spiritual achievement is higher than us, so that they have greater wisdom, capability, and greater compassion to deal with the generation of greater trouble. Therefore, this number 5 vow is to join other people's virtues and merits. The number 6 great vow of universal goodness Bodhisattva's teaching is request the turning of Dharma wheel. Request the turning of Dharma wheel. If one obtain the true benefit from the Buddha Dharma and thinking how to pay back the kindness of the teaching of the teachers. And therefore, we make food offering, we make all kinds of offering before Buddha statue or Bodhisattva statue. This is really a reminder to remind us we need to return. But those material we made offer to Buddha, Bodhisattva are not enough for true return of their kindness. The true return of Buddha, Bodhisattva's teaching and teacher's teaching is to fulfill their good wishes. And their good wishes are to save all sentient beings and teach them with Buddha Dharma. Save them from samsara forever. If we can do things in that line, then we are truly return their kindness. Therefore, to request turning the Dharma wheel by inviting a teacher to come to the local area is a Dharma offering to benefit sentient beings of that area. Therefore, the person who requests the teacher to come has great virtue. There are also other type of virtue, such as somebody passed away and you chant the sutra to bless their soul to be born in a better place. That has great virtue. But to invite a teacher and provide the teaching and wake people up so people will put into practice what the teaching was, that virtue is even greater and is inconceivable. Today, not many teachers can provide teachings, and therefore it's difficult to find a teacher that we truly enjoy and truly benefits. I said this was a complaint or comment made by a Buddhist friend, and I told him to be able to invite a good teacher to come to your area and provide a teaching is a good karmic result. In order to enjoy such a good karmic result, you need to plant a good karmic seed. If you invite an old Dharma teacher and feel very happy about it because good teaching is now provided by the experienced teacher, and the younger one, you don't have much respect, you think they are inexperienced, you do not invite them, then you are not creating a good karmic seed for yourself for the future benefit of able to listen to the teaching and also share the teaching with others in your neighborhood. Therefore, it is important to also cultivate the younger Dharma teachers and monks so that they will be able to provide teachings to future generations. But to encourage them and support them in developing skills and knowledge to provide teachings. It is different from providing compliments. You just give them the praise and compliments that can really bring a lot damage to him or the younger monk or teacher. Because you make him feel that his teaching is wonderful. He will then stop and satisfied. You need to come and encourage his teaching and listen to his teaching. So make him feel that he needs to provide continuous teaching and provide continuous self-growth. And another thing important to encourage and help the spiritual growth of the young monk and young teachers is do not make too much offerings to him or her. If we make excessive offering, we will pull him downward, and the common consequence into the lower realms that you, if involved, are responsible for that. When can you give a compliment to a teacher or monk? It is when the teacher or monk has reached the stage of unmoving mind. The mind is not moving. Then you can praise him and not harm him. And through your praise and good words for this teacher, that attract more attention to other people, and more people will come close to the teacher, listen to the teaching, and benefit thereafter. In the Chinese Buddhism, there is like a proverb. It says, just one single piece of rice offered from a donor. It is as huge and greater, taller than a mountain mirror. If the person receives such offering, even just one drop of rice, and not enlightened, then in the future life, he needs to return people's offering and become animals. Therefore, it is really not easy and not qualified to receive people's offering. But on the other hand, people come with good intention to offer to you. It's also an opportunity for them to plant good Dhamma seed of generosity and so on and so forth. So the best way out of this would be accept their offerings, but turn around, donate out, and do good merit for them. I remember the famous Pure Land teacher Yin Guang Dashi. He will not accept disciples, but he will provide refugee ceremonies to people in writing through mail, and then in return, the disciples, then those become the Buddhists through this method are grateful, and they will mail money back to him or any material offers. He personally is very frugal and very humble, but still he accepts these offerings not for himself, but to establish a sutra printing society. Therefore, he used the money and our material offering wisely to create even more greater merit for those who sent the offering to him. I follow this example. Do accept offerings and donations, but not for myself, but turn around and publish many Buddhism books with your offering, your money. Therefore, I know I'm not scared to return your kindness and your offering in next lifetime as animal. Another offering one must be careful about is donation to help build a temple. When the temple is established, must have people truly cultivate and truly promote Buddha Dhamma. If it's not done that way, then the establishment of the temple becomes a place of future argument or egoistic fighting place. That's why my teacher, Mr. Divinan, he said, at the time of building a temple, in the beginning, everybody are Bodhisattva. When a temple is established, everybody become ashuro. So to offer money and donation to build temple, one must be extremely careful. To make offering to monks also should be very careful. According to the sutra, the necessary offering to a monk only 4 items: food, clothes, and medicine in case the teacher becomes ill. At the time of illness, he needs medicine, and also the necessary blanket so that he can cover his body in sleep. If you make this minimum offering, you will be able to help the monk and teacher maintain his pure mind. But unfortunately, nowadays there are many disciples, they offer the house, big building house to the monks, and some very excellent enjoyment of facilities inside the building or house. It's so enjoyable that the monk forgot that he needs to go to Western Pure Land. He would rather stay in that house with best facility. You see, the monk already left home. Now you pull him back and get him stuck in the home. And that's all because we do not understand the meaning of offering. We thought we are kind and generous. Instead, we did wrong thing. And we are also responsible for the teachers falling into materialistic life. So to cultivate through offering and donation, it takes wisdom. Other teachers probably will not disclose this completely, or don't even bother to mention it. Because if we do speak out the truth, their offering will drastically reduce. Since I'm going to the Pure Land, I don't care about offering, so I share the truth with you. And all your donations received by me, I turn around and give to the Sutra Publication Society in Taiwan. The more offering I receive, the more books I print. As a matter of fact, I have to select the proper sutra to print. If there is less offering, I simply print less. But if there's no offering, I just save myself a lot of trouble without any printing. So, when the mind is not seeking for fame and material reward, then the mind will be able to maintain its purity. And that is the Dharma heart. And we also need to help others, particularly in these examples, the monks and teachers, to maintain their pure hearts or pure mind. That is true offering in accordance with Dharma. The home living monks and nuns, they are supposed to feel the suffering and live in a very minimum materialistic life, and then they can have spiritual achievements. In the ancient time, the system is the ancient monks, they will travel from one place to another. They only eat 1 meal a day. They only stay under the tree, no more than 3 nights. They live that minimum materialistic life. So when we see a teacher or monk is living in minimum material life, we should have respect to him, but not pity, and then give him enjoyable life. We must not pull him back, but support him in a wise manner. And then, when a teacher becomes rich spiritual achievements, enlightenment and realization, be able to spread Buddha Dharma, then we can enjoy our wise donation and proper encouragement of supporting the teacher. Then you'll be able to enjoy all the good teachings in the future. Start with proper encouragement, proper support of the young monks in a wise manner. The request of turning Dharma wheel can help sentient beings plant the good karmic seed in the Dharma, but cannot help sentient beings to reach achievement in one lifetime. Because just by listening to several sessions of the teaching, can one become enlightened? It is impossible in today. today's world. It is possible in ancient time though. Therefore, the next great vow follows the request the turning of Dhamma wheel is to request residing on earth, Buddhas residing on earth. Only if Buddha or Bodhisattva reside on earth and approach to sentient beings in the physical form for a longer time, then the sentient beings will be able to benefit and cultivate and eventually reach achievement. I remember one day my teacher, Mr. Li Nan, he asked all the students, why don't you all tell me what's your personal wishes in the area of serving Buddha Dharma? And I answered, my dream is that one day I will be able to traveling around the world and spread Buddha Dharma. He said, that is good. However, that's only doing some promotion sales. Promotion. You can benefit yourself, but not truly benefit the sentient beings. You see, my teacher, Mr. Li Nan, he stayed in Taichung, middle central part of Taiwan Island, for 40-some years. And he has provided all kinds of teachings and physical demonstration of Dharma practices. And there are numerous disciples has reached spiritual achievements. But to reside in one place and practice with the local people together for a longer time, it takes a very special karmic connections and karmic relationship. For a person like me traveling around and provide itinerary teachings, the karmic connection is there and is wide, but it's not deep. It helped myself tremendously, but not tremendously to the sentient beings, because I only spend less time with you. Not enough. But to me, I did receive tremendous benefits, because I moved from one hotel to another, from one house to another. I'm truly homeless monk, and I do realize that through my constant traveling year around. So in order to truly benefit sentient beings, to practice and to become enlightened, one needs to request the Buddha to reside on earth. But Buddha has passed away, so we need to request Buddha's disciple, the true teachers, gurus, to stay with us on a longer term. Then the local people will be benefits due to his personal presence. However, there are some other details we need to know how to properly request residing on earth of a true teacher for a longer time. We must dedicate all our mind and effort to help the teacher to stay here. And a true teacher usually is very easy to take care of. They don't have much materialistic need. However, the place the teacher stays, or maybe a temple, need to be built large and looks very auspicious. Not for the sake of the teacher or ourselves, but for the sake of creating a very good image to other new friends. So they may think there must be some great master in this temple, because the temple is so large and so auspicious. For that reason, the temple needs to be established very proper for the sake of saving other beings. Take a look at those big temples in mainland China. The temples are huge inside, but when you visit the dormitory where the abbot stays, very small. So you see for themselves, it's very small and even tiny. But for the main hall, it's huge, not only to convenience the practices, but also to create a good image to the general public. Only through the understanding of the details, how to request the teacher to stay on one place for a longer time, then the roots will be planted, and eventually flower comes out, and we can enjoy the fruits in the future. The first 7 vows of the Universal Goodness Bodhisattva Mahasattva are the Bodhisattva's vows to help sentient beings. The last 3, the number 8, number 9, and number 10 vows are basically dedication, married dedication. The number 8, it is to always follow Buddha as an example. We need to follow the best example, which is Buddha, and not sacrifice our criteria or standard. Number 9 is to always satisfy sentient beings, all sentient beings. This is very difficult. In the Chinese tradition, we talk about filiality, filial. That word actually has 2 parts. One is to be nice to the parents, and followed by satisfy the parents, make them happy. So to be able to satisfy all sentient beings is to expand our filiality to an extreme state and treat all sentient beings as our parents. In doing the satisfying of all sentient beings, one will be able to observe and skillfully direct sentient beings into proper Dharma practice. And in doing so, it takes wisdom, skillful means, and patience. Number 10, great vow, is universal dedication of all merits. No matter what kind of merit, no matter how small the merit is, we need to dedicate that to all sentient beings to reach the highest, outermost Bodhisattva, or Buddhi, or enlightenment. So, in conclusion, for Pure Land School, the sutra we use are the 5 sutras and 1 main discussion. And the content of Pure Land practice are items we covered previous few nights. That's 3 virtues, 6 harmonies, and 3 procedures in practice, 6 paramitas, and 10 great vows. And the actual practice is chanting Amitabha. If one can understand this and put into practice sincerely, then one are bound to reach spiritual achievement. If 10,000 people follow the same principle and sincerely do it, then 10,000 people are bound to be born into the pure.